This training module is for poll workers in Pennsylvania. In this module, you will learn about working with voters with disabilities. Topics include the legal requirements for what you must do to help voters with disabilities, as well as tips and best practices for what you should do when interacting with voters with disabilities. This module is designed to supplement the training you receive from your local county election officials. The Department of State encourages you to attend the poll worker training offered by your county before every election. The U.S. Congress passed the Help America Vote Act, or HAVA, in 2002 to improve the way Americans vote. HAVA aimed to improve the voting systems for all Americans and make voting more accessible for people with disabilities. In Pennsylvania, there are now procedures in place to make sure the law is followed. Those procedures protect the voting rights of individuals with disabilities, older Pennsylvanians, and individuals who require assistance to vote. Every polling place in Pennsylvania must have at least one accessible voting system. Sometimes this is the general voting system used by all voters. Sometimes it may be a separate system with features such as audio, tactile keys, and other assistive technology. Voters with disabilities may use assistive devices to vote independently, or they may choose to have someone help them vote. If a registered voter, by reason of blindness, disability, or an inability to read or write or understand ballot questions, is unable to see or mark the ballot or operate the voting machine or enter the voting booth without assistance, that voter is entitled to receive assistance. However, keep in mind that not all disabilities can be seen. You do not need to ask the voter why they need assistance. Simply follow the steps outlined here. In some counties, the accessible ballot marking devices are different than the rest of the voting system, while in other counties, all voters use the accessible ballot marking devices. In counties where the accessible ballot marking devices are different than the rest of the voting system, it is the poll worker's responsibility to make sure the accessible equipment is set up and available to be used. Voters may also bring their own assistive equipment, which can be plugged into the voting machines. Assistive equipment may include headphones, a tactile keyboard, or other devices. Some voters who need assistance have previously recorded that they need assistance to vote. Check the poll book to see if it says that the voter requires assistance. If the poll book does not indicate that the voter requires assistance to vote, but the voter tells you they need help, have them complete and sign a declaration of need of assistance. If it is the first time a voter requests assistance or their assistance needs are not identified in the poll book, they are still eligible to receive assistance and must complete and sign a form known as the Declaration of Need of Assistance. After this is completed, the voter registration record will note their request for assistance for future elections. Any voter who is entitled to receive assistance in voting under the election law must be allowed to choose someone to help them vote. The following people may not provide assistance: the judge of elections, the voter's employer or an agent of the employer, and an agent or officer of the voters' union. Keep in mind these helpful tips for working with voters with disabilities. It's important to create an accessible environment for all voters. Some voters may have a disability that you cannot see. Do not automatically assist unless the voter clearly needs help or has asked for assistance. Even when you can see that a voter has a disability, let them communicate their needs to you. When in doubt, ask how you can help. Lastly, speak directly to the voter, even when someone is there to assist them. When you interact with a voter with a disability, be prepared to offer assistance to any and every voter. Let the voter establish how they want to communicate. Use people-first language. Always put the person before their condition. For example, say, a voter with a disability, not a disabled voter. Speak clearly and be respectful. Voters with disabilities want to be treated like everyone else. Show them the same respect you expect to receive. Be attentive, patient, and always allow the voter to complete their thoughts or actions. It may be necessary to repeat yourself to the voter. Try not to get frustrated if this happens. If you do not understand the voter, let them know and ask for help from a fellow poll worker if necessary. Keep a pen and paper on hand to exchange written communication if necessary. Follow the steps and recommendations in this training, and you will provide a great service to your neighbors and fellow Pennsylvanians. Thank you for your service as a poll worker and for your interest in serving voters with disabilities. Elections in Pennsylvania would not be possible without your service. This concludes the training module on voters with disabilities. Test your knowledge using the questions below.